My mother-in-law objected at our wedding.
Ooh.
My dad is a serial cheater, and 2 of his mistresses showed up to his 4th wedding.
What?
Stop getting married.
Oh my God.
Welcome back to Delve Deck Stories. Today we are reading some nightmare wedding stories. Our first story comes from Claire. What's something you're still angry about, from our original deck? My mother-in-law objected at our wedding.
Ooh, I've always wondered if
Yeah,
people
I
would ever
didn't know if
object.
people, I thought this was a movie thing.
They're like, oh no, don't get married. I'm still in love with you.
I'm still in love with you. My husband and I dated for 2 years before we got married, and my mother-in-law has never approved of me. She thinks I am a gold digger because their family has a lot more money than mine, and that I am only marrying him for money. This is not at all true. I love my husband, and I don't need his money. I have my own career and am perfectly capable of supporting myself. None of this has stopped my mother-in-law from making snide remarks ever since we got together.
Sounds like the mom is jealous.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, since we started dating, she has complained that I am after his money, that I have inferior genes because I have an autistic brother, and that I am not marriage material because I come from a broken home. My parents are divorced. Fuck off.
Wow.
I don't know. My husband doesn't want to be cut off, so he tolerates his mother's rude behavior. But when she found out we were getting married, she really amped up the complaining. I have mostly avoided seeing her because she is so rude, but his parents were invited to our wedding. I get not wanting to be cut off, I guess, if you're gonna get a lot of money, but this woman sounds awful.
Yeah. Grow up hair and stand up to your mom, bro.
Yeah. During the ceremony, his mom stands up and says, I just have to say something. I want to know at what point it was.
Yeah.
Like, did they give the opportunity to object? Or
They're
was
like-
she like walking down the aisle and she's
Well, I
like,
think they
I
get-
have something to say?
We are gathered here. I'm sorry. I just need to say something so that everyone knows.
Yeah, probably. My husband goes, oh no, mom, please don't. But she just pressed on and said, you know she isn't right for you. You deserve so much better. Let's just leave now.
Let's just leave now.
We can forget all about this and you can find someone new who is worthy of you. You can't marry a gold digger. Everyone knows she is just after our money. That's insane behavior.
Also, what if the wife or the soon-to-be wife pulled out a prenup? Was like, I signed it before the wedding.
Just sign. If you're that worried about your money, sign a prenup.
Yeah.
All of our guests sat there in stunned silence while she pleaded with my husband to leave with her. My husband was clearly upset and finally said, can we have just a minute? Mom, let's go talk outside. And then he mouthed to me, I will be right back. What if he didn't come back?
Ooh. That's a possibility. At this point, the vibes are off. The wedding is ruined.
Yeah.
If anyone was like, I object, and it's the mother, and then you go talk to your mom, just even humoring that
Mom,
conversation.
out of the wedding.
It's done. There's everyone else who's there is like, whoa, what? No. Do it here. How do you even recover? Like,
I stood there awkwardly while the room was silent and everyone stared at me, wondering if my husband was about to leave me at the altar. I could feel tears welling up, but I tried to fight them back. I was so humiliated and angry. My bridesmaids came over to try to console me, but I told them it was fine, even though it wasn't. I would be a crying mess. I would be so mad. It felt like forever, but it was probably only a few minutes before my husband came back alone and said, we are ready to continue this as if nothing happened. I mean, I guess that is what you do.
If you're starting the wedding off with someone objecting, like the mother, maybe we just like scrap this and just go get married at the courthouse. And we'll do something else.
I did not see my mother-in-law for the rest of the day. My father-in-law told me at the reception that he was sorry for his wife's behavior and that she was just emotional because he is her only son and she is having a hard time letting go. Again, with the emotional incest, boy moms.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
That's not a good enough excuse.
It's weird. He's an adult. I thanked him for the apology, but I don't buy that excuse for a second. I feel like my mother-in-law kind of ruined our wedding day.
Yeah, I think kind is like the understatement of the century here.
And I am still pissed about it months later. Yeah, no, she did ruin your wedding.
I mean, everything that was attached and associated to that wedding will come back to the mom objecting from the beginning.
Yeah, I have not seen her since the wedding, but my husband has been talking to her and says he wants the two of us to try to get along. I feel like this is completely on her and she owes me a huge apology. I've tried to get along with her, but she has made no effort. It is 1,000% on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She should be the one who comes forward and does everything that she can to fix it.
I love my husband, but this dynamic with his mother has made our relationship difficult. I don't want to split up and let her have her way, but I also don't want to deal with her nasty behavior for who knows how many more years. I understand my husband wanting to maintain his relationship with his parents, but I never want to see my mother-in-law again. My father-in-law is okay, but definitely an enabler with no backbone.
I think I have a solution. They should put some Visine in her drink. Call back to a previous episode. Go check it out.
Watch it.
Yeah.
This is terrible. I feel like also you knew this before you married this man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have married him, but you did know
I'm hoping at least
about
that she met the mother.
Well, it sounds like she did. Then her mother-in-law never approved of her.
Sad.
I am really worried for what happens when we have kids. I have no idea if she will be mean to them too, or if she will come around once we give her grandkids. She will be mean to them. My husband thinks she will warm up once there are kids in the picture, but I have serious reservations and don't know what to do about it. Like, no, kids are just going to make it worse. Kids always make things, any stress that there is, kids are not going to make that better.
If you want to have kids, not great vibes. From the get-go.
Bad vibes.
Bad vibes. Those kids are going to absorb everything that the grandmother says, swearing or little remarks or whatever it is.
Mom's a gold digger.
Yeah, mom's a gold digger. She's it's gonna be like a parrot, right? It's like he's a gold digger. She's a gold digger.
Let us know in the comments what you would do if this was your mother-in-law. Our next story is from Meredith. It's "What's your best no one will believe this but" story from our Splash edition. My bridesmaids' husbands disappeared with their newborns the day before our wedding. My husband and I got married in a rural town in Vermont. We wanted a small destination wedding and fell in love with the quaint charm of this New England town, which was home to a beautiful Victorian-style bed and breakfast that could host our wedding. Two of my best girlfriends were my bridesmaids, and both had new babies only a couple of months old. Their husbands were watching the babies while we did pre-wedding bridal things, and their parents were coming the day of the wedding to watch the babies so the husbands could enjoy the wedding. The day before the wedding, we went to get our nails done, and the husbands took the babies. They were all going to a house my fiance's parents had rented for the weekend to hang out with my fiance and watch baseball. The plan was to meet them at the rental after the salon appointment. None of us knew this rural town very well, so we plugged the rental house address into GPS and made our way over there. Because we were in a rural area, GPS was sending us down dirt roads and into a forest.
It sounds like quite the adventure.
Yeah. We didn't think anything of it at first, but then noticed some alarming things. The dirt road had a giant no trespassing sign painted in drippy red paint.
Was it drippy red paint or was it blood?
Yeah. What do you mean?
This is the moment in the movie when you're like, don't go down that road.
Yeah,
don't walk into that dark room.
I'm so confused by this place. Like, don't go to small towns.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Populated urban areas, the safest.
Mm-hmm. And then we noticed the figures hanging in the trees. What?
No, turn around. Turn around. No.
What are you talking about?
Leave. This is all the makings of a serial killer movie.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
It looked like dozens of bodies wrapped in funeral shrouds hanging from trees all over the forest we'd driven into. We suddenly felt we'd been transported from a serene Vermont countryside right into the middle of a horror movie. You were. This is a horror movie.
Also, if you see things hanging from the trees and you see dripping red paint, these are red flags. You've been given 2 signs. The third one, you're dead.
Turn around. Keep in mind, this was happening in June, so it's not like it was Halloween and the scenery could have been explained away. I think we should turn back, one of my friends said. Yeah, we have to be going the wrong way, the other said. The GPS insisted my fiance's family's rental was down this road, and it began to object when I turned the car around. Call them, my friend said. Straight to voicemail, said the other one as she tried to call her husband. They both tried calling their husbands. All the calls went to voicemail. I pulled over and tried my fiance. His phone also went to voicemail.
It's because they're all dead. They're dead.
I feel like none of them ever existed in the first place, and you just like drove into a wormhole. I don't know. You went into an alternate universe.
Yeah. There will be a man with a chainsaw, a machete, or some sort of axe they're wielding. The car's gonna break down. You're gonna go like, boom,
yeah,
boom. It's
man
gonna
with a hook's gonna come out. Panic began to set in. What if they went down that road? One of my friends asked. I mean, probably if that's where your GPS is sending you.
This also kind of feels like the episode of The Office where they tell them to go into the lake.
Yeah, said the other. And some hillbilly chainsaw massacre maniacs down there could have taken them and the babies. I tried to calm them down, but I was worried too. We cannot go back over there, they insisted. We went back to the bed and breakfast where we were all staying. We asked the staff about the dirt road, but they said they'd never been over there and had no idea what was down there.
They're like, oh, you never go
They're
down.
a part of it.
Yeah. They're the ones who gave the husbands the recommendation of where to go.
We kept trying to call our partners and even my fiance's family. No one was picking up. Should we call the police, they asked? I had no idea. As we weighed our options, my phone finally rang. It was my fiance. Where are you? He asked. I thought you were coming. I told him we got lost and couldn't find the rental, so we gave up and came back to the bed and breakfast. He told me he was with my friend's husbands and the babies. I told him about the haunted looking road and asked if he'd seen it. He said we must have taken a wrong turn and that he hadn't seen it. I asked why no one was picking up. He said cell coverage out there was not very good. He's in on it too. Mm-hmm. When they came back to the bed and breakfast a few hours later with babies in tow and no one slashed by hillbilly maniacs, we all sighed with relief. And then they told us, actually, you were on the right road. The rental was at the end of the street you were on. You just had to keep going.
Nah, I'm not going to risk my life.
I was like, did you not see that sinister no trespassing sign or the bodies in the trees? They admitted they hadn't noticed any of this until they left the place.
What?
Okay, this is why, you know what? I'm sorry, men. What the is wrong with you? You never notice anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't find this thing in this drawer. And then you open it up, it's right there on top. Oh, I just didn't see the no trespassing sign. What do you mean? Like, you guys are supposed to be the hunters? You'd be terrible hunters.
You'd be dead.
So good to know if my husband ever is in a horror movie, he will be the first one hacked to pieces since he and my friend's husbands have the awareness of a lawn chair, apparently. I'm still not convinced they weren't. And I think you should consider that. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
How are you guys so oblivious to this?
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. Our next story is from Patrick. What behavior did your parents have that you've made a point to avoid as an adult? From our original deck. My dad is a serial cheater, and 2 of his mistresses showed up to his 4th wedding.
I definitely thought she was going to say, my dad is a serial killer, but serial cheater is also
bad.
Not great.
Not as bad as a serial killer dad. Let me first say, I generally like my dad. He's always been a fun guy to be around and was a really attentive and caring parent. However, if you are a woman who is interested in dating him, stay away. That man could not be monogamous to save his life. My parents got divorced when I was 2 years old, so I have no memory of them being together. My dad always had girlfriends growing up, but it wasn't until I was in middle school that I started to realize he may have a problem. One of his girlfriends showed up to the house one day screaming outside the door, talking about how he was a monster and how she was going to kill him. I remember thinking, oh my God, why would someone want to kill my dad? This lady is crazy.
I mean, it sounds like he is a monster.
Yeah. When I was 15, my dad got married for a 3rd time.
Stop, dude. Stop getting married.
Yeah.
Clearly there's a problem. You're not happy with one person.
I don't understand people who have this many marriages. I feel like if the second one fails, it's like you're just not meant to get married. It lasted a total of 4 months before she asked for a divorce.
What?
Stop getting married.
Oh my God.
My dad was pretty depressed about it, and I asked what had happened. Again, again, from my perspective, everything was fine. He got really serious and explained that he had been unfaithful to her and that's why she left. He had also been unfaithful to my mom and pretty much everyone else he had dated.
At least he's admitting he has a problem?
Yeah, I was horrified. When I confronted my mom about it, she admitted that he had cheated on her and that she hadn't told me because she wanted me to have a relationship with him. He's still a good person, just not a good husband, she insisted. Then my dad started dating Cheryl. I was worried for her, but they seemed to get along really well. They dated for 3 years and then he proposed. I was really happy for both of them and hoped this was the person my dad had been waiting for. Someone he could actually commit to. Probably not.
Psych! Don't see it happening.
The day of the wedding was going smoothly, but then the ceremony started. I was standing up there next to my dad when we heard screaming outside the venue. Then 2 women burst in. I looked at my dad and his face said it all. He knew who they were. The first woman stormed up to him. "You told me your name was Daryl. You fucking lied to me for 8 months." Cheryl was like, "What's going on?" And the woman screamed, "I'm his girlfriend."
How do people do this?
I don't know who gets away with this.
The ability to have, multiple personalities, what it is.
Having like this many layers of I don't even know.
Different devices, different phones.
Too complicated.
Yeah.
This is a complicated shtick to uphold, and I can't imagine that it's worth it. All my dad said was, "How did you find out?" Which is honestly insane. "I fucking told her, you loser," woman number 2 yelled. "After we hooked up, I went online to try to find you. And to my surprise, your Facebook had a fucking engagement announcement on it." So he didn't use a fake name with this woman. You're just not keeping your story straight. So I was pissed off and telling some friends about it. Showed Caroline the post and she goes, "Oh my God, that's Daryl. Except you aren't Daryl. You're a fucking liar," Caroline yelled at him. Through their screaming, we learned that they found the wedding website and made a plan to come disrupt it. "Do not marry this man," they were both yelling at Cheryl, who was understandably horrified. What would you do? What would you do? I don't even know what you do if you're Cheryl.
No, I would not even want to deal with that in front of all these people.
No, it's super embarrassing. As this was all happening, I kept thinking, how can this be real life? It felt like a movie. No one had any idea what to do, and my dad kept asking them to leave. One night stand woman tried taking a swing at my dad, yelling, "That's for my friend, you asshole." My uncle and I tried to escort the women outside, but they kept pushing back and screaming about how he wasn't even that good in bed and all sorts of other explicit things you never want to hear about your dad. I'm just assuming they're drunk.
Yeah. I think they're still drunk from the night before.
Yeah, I don't think this is sober brain behavior. The whole situation was really awful, and it took me a while to want to have a relationship with my father again. He's, you guessed it, dating someone new.
No.
I don't know if I should warn her. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe be like, "Hey, look, so just know."
Is not good.
Yeah.
But seeing how much damage he's done has made me really value fidelity, possibly to an extreme, but I know I could never make anyone feel that way. Yeah, I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Do you warn future girlfriends about your dad's
That's a weird,
crazy behavior? I would just be like, "Dad, what's wrong with you? Stop that."
Yeah.
Our final story comes from Tiffany. What's your "no one will believe this but" story from our Splash edition? My mom wore a wedding dress to my wedding. You're not supposed to do that. Also, not even white, just full on wedding dress.
I don't even know what kind of a full on gown.
My mom has always needed to be the center of attention. Growing up, she was queen of the household. My dad catered to her every whim, and my siblings and I learned to do the same. If one of us had a big achievement, she'd compliment herself and say what a good mother she was, raising kids who were on the honor roll or star basketball players.
Well, I don't think a mom does that.
No.
That's the children being like, "Hey, you know what? I wanna be good in school. I wanna study. I wanna practice sports, whatever it might be."
The feeling already this mom's
Sorry.
gonna
Sorry, mother.
Exhibit some narcissistic behaviors. One time I had to write an essay for school about something I was proud of. I wrote about my mom. She cried when I let her read the essay and told me I was her favorite for the day. This was another thing she did, pitting all her children against each other, all of us desperate to be mom's favorite.
You're my favorite for the day.
You get one day. Anyway, 2 years ago, my boyfriend, Trent, proposed to me. My mom was so excited and told me she would pay for everything to make sure I had the perfect wedding. Trent and I both thought, great. We wanted to save money for our future family, so we jumped on the offer. As months passed, we realized this was a huge mistake. My mom wanted to be involved in everything. She required us to run every decision by her before she would put her credit card down, and we felt like we had to play along. She also made a massive guest list, Trent and me saying we wanted a smaller wedding. If we tried to push back, she'd cry or tell us that she wasn't going to pay for a terrible wedding, reminding us that she was funding things and she didn't want people to think she had bad taste. Sure.
This is one of those things where it's like, I get that you're paying for it, so you want to have a say, but also it's my day.
Yeah.
Celebration?
When it came time to go dress shopping, my mom and my bridesmaids gathered in a dress shop and sipped champagne while I tried on dresses. I ended up finding this really beautiful dress that made me look like a princess. I've always been girly, so a giant poofy wedding dress has been my dream since I was a little girl. All of my friends loved it, but my mom did not. It covers your beautiful figure, and it's really too much. You should wear something more chic. I tried taking my mom aside to tell her I wanted that dress, but she started yelling at me in the middle of the dress shop that if I wanted to wear an ugly dress, I would have to pay for it myself. I caved and went with a more simple dress that my mom approved of. This is such weird behavior.
Yeah.
This is your day.
Yeah.
And also you need set boundaries with your parents. I know it's weird and awkward and uncomfortable, especially if they're super overbearing, but like not okay. She obviously sees her daughter as an extension of herself.
Yeah.
The day of the wedding came, and despite all of the annoying compromises, Trent and I were so excited. My mom can be overbearing, but she does have great taste. And the wedding was so far out of our budget, we really couldn't complain. When my mom arrived at the bridal suite to help me get ready, she was wearing the mother of the bride dress she had picked out a few months ago. The ceremony happened as we had rehearsed, and then the guests made their way to the reception hall. This was when my mom disappeared.
Costume change.
I remember thinking, oh no, she's not going to get any of the food she liked.
I'm just going to walk off the set.
Flip everything over.
If this mom shows up in the dress that she wanted to have, I'm done.
We were halfway through dinner and my mom still wasn't there. Trent was trying to make jokes like she's probably off yelling at the wedding planner again. Then the DJ made an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the front of the room. Introducing the bride's mother and best friend, Tracy.
The only announcement that should be made is when you're like, hey, everyone, welcome, Mr. and Mrs. whatever.
New couple.
Not a solo entrance for the mother.
I turned to my maid of honor, my actual best friend, who just gave me a WTF look. And then my mom entered the room, wearing not only a freaking wedding dress, but the wedding dress she had told me not to buy.
See you later. Bye.
Come back, Gabe, come back.
I am so mad right now. Why? What are you doing?
Gabe is going to find your mom.
I'm going to find your mom.
This is crazy behavior.
Yeah.
This is crazy behavior. Some people clapped as if this was a normal thing we had planned.
No.
But I could tell a lot of the guests were confused and uncomfortable.
As they should be.
That's very weird.
What is going on?
What are we doing? My mom then took the microphone from the DJ and started giving some bull speech that I could barely pay attention to because my mind was spinning. From what people told me, it was just her complimenting herself for raising such a beautiful bride. Apparently, she also said that we were twin flames, and since I was getting married, so was she. This is insane. Completely bonkers. I do remember that she ended it by coming up to me and saying, "I love you so much, sweetie. Today is our day." And she hugged me as I cried. This is emotional incest. It is weird.
Yeah. I was hoping it wouldn't go this way. And then in the back of my mind, I was like, no, this mom seems like the type that was like,
she seems
don't
crazy.
Get that.
I couldn't take it anymore, and I got up to leave, followed by Trent, my bridesmaids, and my mom. You wore a fucking wedding dress to my wedding? What the fuck is wrong with you? I screamed at her. We got into a huge fight where she called me ungrateful. I cried that she wore the dress I wanted to wear. She told me she thought I would have been happy seeing her in the dress I liked. Why would anybody? What? Why?
She's going to look back at these photos and want to burn them because she's going to go, not only did I not get to wear my wedding dress that I wanted, my mother told me not to get it because she was buying that exact dress for herself, and now it's going to be in all these photos.
This is insane. The whole thing was insane. Luckily, Trent went to get my dad, who escorted my mom away. When my dad came back, he made some excuse like, she just wants to make you happy. I was furious. Your wife is crazy, bro.
Yeah. The fact that you're trying to excuse this.
No, stand up for your kids, Dad. Man. I wish I could say this was the final straw with my mom, but I eventually apologized for hurting her feelings and thanked her for the beautiful wedding.
This is one I'm just like, nope, this isn't worth it. You stole this day from me. A day that I've been planning for months, if not years.
This is a solid reason to go no contact. I've been spending a lot of time in therapy working on setting boundaries with her, though. I know she won't change, and I love her despite all her flaws. But still, wearing a wedding dress to your own daughter's wedding is another level of crazy. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. That's really, 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 really weird. Let us know in the comments what you would do if you were at any of these weddings. If it was your wedding, if you were a guest. I think all of these, as a guest, I would just feel like, wow, this is maybe the best wedding I've ever been to.
Honestly, you'd be like, man, everyone loves gossip and they love drama and they love to be like, oh my God, did you see when they did this? You know, and like having those conversations.
Yeah.
And those are going to be the things that you remember. Be like, oh man, did you go to like John and Christy's wedding? Nuts. You missed a crazy time.
That is it for Delve Deck Stories. If you liked this episode, you can like, subscribe, comment, check out some of our other videos. And if you have a crazy story that you would like to share with us, you can go to share.delvedeck.com and maybe we will read it on an episode.